opposition.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know the government is doing its best to keep the facts about deaths of children in government care from coming to light. It's pulling out all the stops to deflect attention. You'd almost say the minister said these deaths were insignificant. You'd almost say he almost wanted to blame families and frontline staff. But Alberta Liberals are not going to let this minister get away with it. The facts are clear, Mr. Speaker, and they're staggering. 1 in 10 children in care are babies. The babies account for more than 1 in 3 of the deaths of children in care. 57 of those that died out of 145 were babies. And experts say that these were preventable. To the Premier, why are so many babies dying needlessly in your government's care?
Honourable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, this is a very serious issue, and we're all concerned about this issue. It's why our minister has taken the steps that he has, even subsequent to the work that we've done in the past 2 years. Because, Mr. Speaker, this has turned into a debate where the opposition stands up and is morally outraged by this circumstance. And they should be. We all are, Mr. Speaker. But the way that we resolve this is to come together to work to make the system even better than it is. We have asked for the opposition to come to the table to work with us because the outcome that we need is to ensure that all children are even safer than they are today and that we avoid these tragedies. And we've asked for that partnership, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, the opposition are fully in favour of working with this government and anyone else who wants to improve the lives of children. But far from doing the right thing, what's necessary here are answers. We have 147 dead children, Premier. It's time to call an independent public judicial inquiry. The families of these children don't need a roundtable, they need answers. And the facts are horrific. 9% of Alberta's children are First Nations, but they represent 78% of the kids that died in care. And yet, they get much less funding at a time when there's much more need. Premier, your government is changing the First Nations children in our province. Why will you not call an
Honourable Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, there was actually a recent public fatality inquiry with respect to an Aboriginal child in care who died. And it was a tragic circumstance, and one of the recommendations that came out of that was that the funding issue relative to Aboriginal children on reserves needs to be looked into. The honourable member will know that the federal government funds on reserve, the provincial government funds off reserve. But one of the things that I've said to each of the treaty chiefs that I've met with over this fall, and I've met with all of them, is that we have to set aside jurisdiction and look to the best interests of the children. They agree, we agree. Will you agree?
Mr. Speaker, when an airplane loaded with passengers crashes, passengers die, we call an independent judicial inquiry to find out why the airplane crashed. The Children, Family and Youth Services system of this province liken that to an airplane that has crashed. All these children have died, many have been injured, and needlessly suffered. My question is, Premier, why will you not call a public inquiry? The public and these families need answers. Can you please stand up, Premier, and tell us why, as a lawyer, you won't call an inquiry?
Mr. Speaker, I think on this issue it is tremendously important in this House to remember what we need to try to achieve. And the outcome, Mr. Speaker, is to improve the system every single day with all of the people that are working in the system to protect children who are incredibly vulnerable before they come into the system in a way that ensures that we can ensure that they have the best opportunity to excel. And sometimes, Mr. Speaker, there are tragedies, and that is exactly what they are. We cannot exploit these tragedies, Mr. Speaker. We must improve the system. We've asked for the opposition to help us do that, and we hope that they will, Mr. Speaker.